people saw Caloocan as the more problematic city sa buong Metro Manila. This is a kingdom of a political dynasty. There is always that hope for change. People long for change. I believe pagka nailabas ito, magugulantang, lalo na yung mga moderates, yung mga bukas pa ang pag-iisip. Of course, yung mga hardcore Duterte followers, hindi na yan. Wala na mababago ng isip nila. Sobra yung corruption nila. Malaking pagkakamali ni Digong dito was nung ginawa niyang joint account sila ni Sara. To be clear, dalawa kasi yung issue dyan. May issue ng Senate presidency at may issue ng impeachment trial. Parang teleserye yan. Papanuorin niya ng mga Pilipino. Ngayon, wala nang filter, wala nang gaslighting, walang mga, magfe-fake news dyan in between. Wala. Kasi diretso. Kaya, yun, they will judge for themselves pag nakita nila, ay, wala naman pala, kurakot pala talaga.
Welcome back everyone. Ito sa latest episode ng Pilipinas 360 Degrees. Kasama naman natin ngayon, former Senator Sonny Trillanes. Thank you very much, Senator, for joining us. I mean, the reason why you're always relevant for news cycle is because ang dami mong ginawa, ang dami mong adikain throughout the years. Actually, kanina lang doon sa waiting room, tinitingnan ko yung mga pictures. Hindi natin kailangan sabihin lahat ng mga na-meet mo, but it just made me realize, ang dami, you were always in some important historical junctures sa Pilipinas, despite the fact that you're a relatively young statesman. So, kamusta naman kayo? Let's, before we discuss the more contentious issues, and I know because you're more directly involved in some issues more than the other. There are certain limitations. You cannot say everything on the record, but the degree that we can talk about it, we'll talk about it. But before that, Senator, I mean, you did something remarkable in Caloocan. You won more than 200,000 votes. At least 2 out of 5 voters went for you. That was a very competitive race, considering how everyone was looking at it and saying, wala na yan, this is going to be more than an uphill battle. It's going to be mission impossible. What is your read of what you have achieved, of what you were able to achieve dyan sa Caloocan, given yung mga structural limitations that I'm sure you can talk about?
I think ang nakita ko dito yung mga silver linings, kasi people saw Caloocan as, parang the more problematic city, sa buong Metro Manila. Ang daming problema talaga dyan, iba't ibang levels. And everybody assumed na talagang this is a kingdom of a political dynasty, Pero nakita natin, there is always that hope for change. People long for change. And yun yung naramdaman natin. It's just unfortunate na it's the very same people longing for change na sila yung most vulnerable sa mga usual unfair tactics.
Because of the desperate conditions created by trapo politics also.
Yes.
Cyclical society.
So, but I'm sure mabibreak yan kasi I started out at 8%. I ended up at 40%. So, you can imagine kung kung walang unfair tactics, I think iba ang naging resulta. But ganun talaga. That's how it is, and we have moved forward.
Now, obviously, there's the 1-year ban in terms of appointment. We can talk about that in the next episode. But that means you have more or less a year to stretch your legs and get things going. Now, speaking of the next year, mukhang marami pwede mangyari sa mga darating na araw at darating na buwan. Senator, obviously one of the things that getting a lot of attention is the issue of impeachment. And we had a lot of guests on our different platforms and show. And for people like, for instance, Chief Justice, former Associate Justice Carpio made it very clear na ang crux talaga ng issue dito is show me the money trail. Now, once that issue really gets exposed, I think even yung mga supposed Team DDS or de facto defense team ni Sara, medyo mahirapan because last time when we saw certain senators trying to cover up yung 11 senators, they paid the political price. I mean, some of them never came back to politics. So, and that's why I thought of you immediately because kung may tao na talagang nakatutok dito sa issue ng money trail and dun sa QuadCon, nilabas mo rin yan last year. Kayo po yan. Senator, for the purpose of people who are not very familiar with the exposés you have done and the information that you're very familiar with, gaano kahalaga yung issue ng money trail? Kasi mukhang ang daming pera mga Dutertes, travel lang travel. I don't know how they're paying Kaufman, we'll talk about more later on dun sa ICC. They seem to have a lot of resources. What is your information understanding on that? And how is this relevant dun sa impeachment trial without, making a prejudicial statement dun sa proceedings that could come in the coming days?
I agree. Ito yung pinakang controversial issue or article do sa impeachment. Ito yung, kumbaga, game changer. I believe pagka nailabas ito, magugulantang, lalo na yung mga moderates, ano, yung mga bukas pa ang pag-iisip. Of course, yung mga hardcore Duterte followers, hindi na yan. Wala na mababago ng isip nila. They will always find a reason to explain everything and justify kung bakit ginawa yun. But for the moderates, ito yung labanan ng impeachment eh. It's the battle for the moderates. And all this time kasi, ang mga Dutertes, they projected yung packaging nila, yung branding nila as parang simple sila mga tao, mga go-getters, mga parang ganon. They may have unorthodox or unconventional methods, pero it gets the job done. Ganon yung packaging. But dito sa bank accounts issue na to, mababago yon. Na as what I always say, having seen all of this, they're not different from the traditional corrupt na mga politiko. Sobra yung corruption nila, no? At remember, ang context ng bank accounts na ito, nakuha ko ito, for that matter, nabigay ito sa akin, around 2016 during the campaign. Ang mga contents nito, nung mayor pa si Digong. So you can imagine, scandalous na yung amounts at that time. So kung corrupt siya as mayor, imagine kung magkano nanakaw niya nung presidente siya. So yan yun. At ang pinakang malaking pagkakamali ni Digong dito was nung ginawa niyang joint account sila ni Sara. I think, ano ito eh.
Why would they do that sa tingin mo? Anong kayong logic?
Well, unang-una, impunity. Culture of impunity. Sa kanila,
They can get away with anything.
yes, they've been getting away with anything. They've been getting away literally with murder, multiple murder. And this is no different. So hindi nila nakita na someday, pupunta sila sa national politics at magiging vulnerable sila sa mga scrutiny na ganyan. So anyway, tinitignan ko yung mga ano. So tatlong sets of accounts dito. So, ang pinakang article of impeachment kasi is merong kansalin, si Sara, tapos dapat yan ay hindi lalagpas yung mga pera mo sa mga bangko doon sa dineclare mo. Okay. So, merong 3 sets yan. Una, yung kanyang sariling account. So, sila ng joint ni Man Scarpio, ng husband niya. So, andyan yon. So, lahat nung makikita doon, dapat should be within what was declared sa salin niya. Next, itong joint account nila ni Duterte. Ito yung medyo contentious kasi dito yung nakita ko na mga pera na pumapasok, lumalabas, galing sa drug lord. Eventually, na-trace ko paano yun. Kasi may isang set of information galing sa isang drug lord associate ni Michael Yang, si Sammy Uy. So, yun yung pangatlong set. Itong Sammy Uy, nagbigay siya ng mga pera every 6 months dun sa tatlong magkakapatid. Pulong, Sara, Baste, tapos Hanilet, joint with Kitty ito So, tapos si Digong mismo. So, saan galing ito? Itong si Sammy Uy is a drug lord as attested to by Arturo Las Cañas. Ito, sinubmit niya ito sa ICC. Tapos, ang lumabas na sinasabi ni Las Cañas, itong si Sammy Uy, siya yung pinakang frontman ni Michael Yang. So, as a frontman, parang may legit businesses siya kunyari, pero Pag tinitignan mo, nagbibigay siya ng dividendo doon sa 5 na mga sabihin na nating 40 to 50 million pesos every 6 months. So anong business yun? Nagbibigay ng gano'n. May money trail. Bakit? Kasi manager's checks yung binigay niya dito sa mga to. It's in their name. Kaya yun ang lalabas. Kaya they're trying desperately na hindi matuloy yung impeachment kasi pagka lumabas yung pagka natuloy yung impeachment, lalabas itong mga to.
Before going back to the impeachment and all, kasi di ba kailangan din na i-decide nila what will be the mechanics and parameters of the impeachment. But just before that, I have a question kasi ang dami kong nakausap, including yung mga ibang mga kaibigan natin na abogado, na experts na they're wondering, bakit pa natin hintayin itong impeachment process which is political, which is sui generis? Meron naman tayong mga mechanisms in order to check money trail kung may hindi lang AMLAC, di ba? I mean, they're not, but walang mga parallel efforts dun sa mga relevant agencies to look into this. Kung talaga may dark money or something dodgy going on, bakit pa natin hintayin yung impeachment? This is just an innocent question people are throwing at me.
Well, we tried. Noong 2016, nag-file ako ng plunder case kay Digong using this same set of documents. So, final ko sa ombudsman. The ombudsman investigated. At itong dating overall deputy ombudsman na si Arturo Carandang, kinonfirm niya na similar yung nakita nila dun sa ano. And because si Digong, nalaman niya na iniimbestigahan siya, tinanggal niya against the Constitution, tinanggal niya yung overall deputy ombudsman. So, tapos pinalitan niya yung executive director ng Anti-Money Laundering Council. So, prinoteksyonan niya yung sarili niya. Yun ang reason kung bakit hindi ito lumalabas. Sinusuppress niya by controlling all these agencies. Ngayon, bago na yung presidente, lumalabas to ulit, no, na nagkaaway sila. Ngayon, ang next ito, bakit kailangan pa i-impeach para lumabas ito? Because sa Bank Secrecy Law, ang isang exemption is the impeachment. Otherwise, hindi mo pwedeng makita yan.
Sa foreign currency particular, no?
Yung foreign currency, sinasabi nila absolute daw yon. Pero dun sa Bank Secrecy Law na yung local currency, pagka impeachment, yan, isang exemption yan.
Sandra, I want to ask you about this. So, it's one thing, kasi unfortunately, I don't know anong basa mo, pero marami naguguluhan sa ano nangyari. Ano ba to? Ping-pong ba to? Tuloy ba yung impeachment? Hindi tuloy yung impeachment. But assuming tuloy yung impeachment, and I'm saying this because as of this conversation, we could be weeks away from a vote kung saan by majority they might de facto dismiss it, right? Assuming tuloy yung impeachment, the parameters of the trial itself is going to be determined by the Senate, right? Because it's a sui generis.
Yeah.
Yung issue ng bank secrecy at saka yung exposure of yung money trail, is that something that has to be also voted upon, or it could come as a package once the trial is put together from your own experience and understanding of the procedures?
Well, technically, pwede na isubpina. Kasi because of the exemption, pwede na kagad yun. Kaso, pag naging political ito na tipong suppression of evidence, gagawin talaga yon. But since mapapanood ito ng taong bayan, makikita nila, bakit tinatago ito? Kung wala namang tagong yaman, bakit kailangan magtago? Gagamitin natin the same logic that they've been using nung panahon nila Digong, di ba? Na tipong kung hindi ka adik, ba't ka natatakot? O ngayon kung hindi ka magnanakaw, ba't ka natatakot?
Wala kang takot sa batas.
Kung wala naman talagang laman yan, di yun. So, ganun yan. Kaya nga, very, very important ingredient dito, yung public opinion. Public opinion is the, kumbaga ang bida rito. Yan ang kinukonsidera ng mga legislators. And that's the reason why, by design, nung pina-formulate yung US government, yung US Constitution, nakita nung mga founding fathers nila, now, wag nila ibigay sa mga abogado, sa mga jurist, rather, sa mga huwes, yung impeachment trial, Dahil pagka huwes, ang makukonsidera lang is the legal component. Ang impeachment kasi, may three components siya. The legal, the political, and the policy components. At yung politiko, yung senador being elected, mas may grasp siya nung political component tsaka yung policy component. Yung mga huwes, pag sinabing magiging technical against the rules of court yan, dito, gano'n.
Tsaka yung threshold, mataas. Yung quantum of evidence na kailangan.
Well, magkapares yun, actually. So, yung quantum of evidence is, ultimately, sabi nga nila, you know when you know, ano? Lahat kasi ang buong bayan makakapanood nito impeachment trial. So, makikita nila yung husga nung man on the street, dapat the same yan nung husga nung senator judge. That's the political component. So, bakit three components? Kasi hindi lang na-prove yung allegation. Sa mga jurists, sa mga judges, tanggal na kagad yan pag na-prove. O example, kung finailan ka na impeachment on tax evasion, assuming ma-prove yun na nag-evade ka ng taxes, let's say, by 1,000 pesos, yung isang vice president, yung isang impeachable officer, for the judges, they don't have any choice. The law is the law, they will convict you. Pero, pagka sa impeachment, pagka yung political officer ang magtitingin nun, titignan nila, teka muna, sasabihin ng taong bayan, 1,000 pesos lang naman pala. Everybody would try to skirt around taxes anyway, parang ganon. So yun. Then next, yung policy question is important din. Na tipong, is this the right thing to do? Or is it good for our country?
Right.
Yan yung policy question. So, titignan nila, iwi-weigh nila lahat yan. So, ano ito? Kung 1,000 lang naman pala ang nadaya, sasabihin ng taong bayan, hindi, okay lang yan. O sige, let it slide.
Kaysa magkakagulo or something. Yeah.
Pero kung yung next, hindi automatic yun doon sa policy question na, is it good for the country? Kasi kung talagang walang hiya naman itong politiko na ito, talagang karumal-dumal yung but he was caught there, maaring okay siya doon sa political side, pero sa policy side, hindi. So maraming konsiderasyon yon, which yung justices with all their technical know-how sa justice system, sa mga batas, hindi nila ma-appreciate yun kasi hindi sila binoto ng taong bayan. So kaya ganon ang disenyo ng impeachment.
Which makes it sui generis as a court.
Yes, and kaya napaka-importanting elemento rito yung public opinion. Pero yung wisdom kaya hindi lang naman ito sabihin, kung public opinion ang importante dito, i-decide na lang natin o survey na lang tayo, consensus. Hindi ganon. Kasi supposed to be, ang dagdag naman o value added ng isang senador is aside dun sa alam niya yung pulso ng taong bayan, kundi dapat mas alam niya kung ano ang ikabubuti para sa bayan. So that's the policy question. So bukod dun sa legal question, pero yun yung pundasyon. Kailangan, based on the evidence, may nakumit. Pagka hindi nakumit, tapos na yung political and So, wala na yon, ika-acquit mo na. Pero kung nakita nyo, may ebidensya, talagang kinumit yung crime. So, there's one legal question. Next, sabi nung taong bayan, tama lang. Grabe pala yung ginawa. Tama lang matanggal. Okay. Pangatlo is it good for the country na matanggal itong official na ito? Yun na yun. Yun na yung value added ng senador. Yun yung kanyang pagdidesisyonan. So, lahat yan, yung elemento na yan yung magiging konsiderasyon na isang senator judge.
Sorry, going back to this, you were part of the Senate. You were also part of the Senate when some important things happened. Corona, Marcelino Gutierrez. We can talk a little bit about that in detail. Base dun sa inyong karanasan, yung mga precedents na nakita nyo at saka yung pag-intindi nyo sa ating saligang batas at saka mga procedures sa Senado. I know in fairness on this issue, you're very, I would say diplomatic. anong pag-intindi niyo dun sa nangyari sa 19th Congress in the final days at ano yung mga expectations dapat natin sa 20th Congress? Because in fairness to you, Senator Trillanes, you were one of the very few, if not the only guest I've had on my platforms who openly said, dapat intindihin din natin si Jesus Escudero kasi ang gulo ng internal dynamics ng Senate. This is not, I mean, your time was not perfect, but ang gulo ngayon eh. Like, as we speak, it looks like there are attempts to unseating from different sides. Even Mig Zubiri, for instance, who would you expect to be more sympathetic to the Duterte camp because he's from Mindanao, etc. He's part of the veterans faction, right? Tito Soto has been pushing for basically returning to his position for quite some time. Magulo ito. In short, given that yung fluidity, let's just say, of internal alignments doon, how do you think how do you think she's exercised his duty, or some would say was not able to fully exercise his duty? And what are the things you're hoping to happen in the coming months? Because institution mo rin to eh. I'm sure you're not happy to see when people are saying, tanggal na yung Senado na yun, abrogate na yung Senado na yun. In fact, did you serve in the Congress? Because people are saying nowadays, parang mas lower house ngayon ang Senate kumpara sa Congress, because the Congress has shown more professionalism and institutionalized integrity, especially on the Quadcom, etc. So I just want to get your point as someone who spent a lot of time also in the Senate.
Okay, yeah, well, it's unfortunate na ganyan ang iming perception. Dati, yung Senate, yan yung tinatawag nilang last bastion of democracy dito sa Pilipinas. So, ando doon yun. Ando doon yung expectation na gano'n. But it's unfortunate na hindi ganyan ngayon ang perception. Now, to be clear, dalawa kasi yung issue dyan. May issue ng Senate presidency at may issue ng impeachment trial. So, hindi yan necessarily the same. So, those voting for or supporting Jesus Escudero is not automatic na magko-convict o mag-acquit. So, iba yon. Yun yung complexity na kino-confront ni Senator Jesus Escudero. Kailangan niyang i-manage yung iba't ibang bloke para ma-retain niya yung Senate presidency, which I believe at this point in time is more important to him than anything. It's unfortunate,
Survival,
but it is what it is. But sabi ko nga, drawing from lessons of the past, si then Speaker Manny Villar, at the expense of his speakership, trinasmit niya sa Senate. Alam niya na matatanggal siya pag trinasmit niya, but he did it just the same because it was the right thing to do. So, nangyari yun.
Pimentel resigned from his Senate presidency.
Yes, oo. Si JDB, Speaker Jose de Venecia, when confronted with the same dilemma, anong ginawa niya? Hindi niya trinasmit because he loved his position more. But in the end, ano nangyari? Tanggal siya. Si then Speaker Manny Villar, alam niya na tanggal siya, but he did the right thing. Na-elect siya sa Senate. So the people rewarded him for that. So ito kasi nakikita nila yan eh. Minsan medyo short-sighted sila eh. Ito lang kung ito. Pero kung down the road, you'd be politically crucified anyway. So you'd have to factor that in. Unless they feel na hindi, kaya kong manalo doon, sabihin ko lang, magbigay ako ng 10,000 a month o kung ano man. Ganon yung calculation nila. So yun, dalawang issue. Kaya ako naman sinasabing, let's not be prisoners of the moment. This vote is 18-5, para nalumo lahat. Sabi ko, hindi. When the smoke cleared, ano ba, na-dismiss ba yung impeachment? Hindi. Diba? And that was the objective. Maitawid ito na hindi ma-dismiss. So they tried. But the thing is, some people tried. But, or some senators tried, to be specific. But the people didn't allow it to happen. So,
Yung de facto dismissal move.
oo. So, ang dami nag-ingay nun. So, na-pressure sila. While they attempted, pero because of the pushback, nag-ano sila, nag-fold. So, yun ang kailangan natin bantayan going to the next Congress.
And doon sa issue ng political survival, I mean, some people would say na They're also not sure what exactly this is the real position of the Malacanang. They're also not sure what exactly is the position of some important. I mean, I'm talking about the group that had that million-strong rally earlier this year, which some saw as a warning na huwag niyo i-push yung impeachment na yan. Do you think there has been a change in the calculus of Malacanang? Do you think there has been a change in the calculus of politician in terms of being threatened? Kasi hindi lang takot doon sa Solid South. It's also takot doon sa mga ibang grupo na kaya nila to mobilize huge numbers electorally and politically. Do you think that element has perhaps shifted as we enter the 20th Congress? Because that seemed to have been one reason why perhaps she's had to be also careful, or at least some of the people he was dealing with were very careful.
Okay, babalik ako dun sa nangyari. Ano ba nangyari? Na-dismiss o hindi? Hindi na-dismiss. So, ibig sabihin nun,
So you see that as theatrics, all the remanding and recertification and discussion about the one-year ban, that was just a fig leaf para lang matuwa yung mga DDS na feeling nila. Parang just give them something crumbs, ganon, but we're still tatawid tayo. Is that your read?
ako, kung titignan ko, sino ba yung naisahin dito? Sila ba to? Kasi they were pushing, they were determined to dismiss it. Nangyari ba? Hindi. Pero they went away nung botohan na yon, parang victorious. So doon mo makita kung sino naisahan. Sila yun. Pero yun na nga, everybody was just drawn into that botohan. Kaya nga when I was being asked, paano to? Tatalo sa boto. Sabi ko, hindi. Go nyo lang kasi yung pinagbobotohan is not the dismissal. Procedural yung pinagbobotohan. So that's a victory regardless of the outcome. But of course, we saw some inclinations of some senators. But sabi ko, it's too early in the day. We've seen it before nung kay Corona. When we started, lamang yung leaning acquittal. Lamang na lamang. But
the numbers worked. They were worked. You worked the numbers.
But the evidence primarily helped in that cause. So eventually, we ended up with 20 for conviction. So yun. Kaya ano tayo dito? Vigilant tayo at the same time. Wag masyadong yung parang prisoners of the moment. Kasi there would be so many votes. Maraming botohan yan.
Maraming hurdles pa yan.
Ang pinaka-importanting boto yung dulo. So yun ang abangan natin. For as long as hindi nagbobotohan sa final verdict, so ano lang yan? Mga posturing lang yung iba dyan, paasa, or papapresyo. Maraming estilo yan. So ganun ang, unfortunately, sasabihin ng iba, bakit kailangan may ganyan? Well, in case you didn't notice, we're not living in a perfect world. So we'll have to live with that.
And huling singit ko lang to. What about the aspect of the ombudsman and also preemptive resignation option? Because speaking of the preemptive resignation option, I mean, is it conceivable na itong lumabas ang evidence, although even though there's some sort of sense that baka I'll still have enough votes to get the acquittal, I'm talking about if you were in Sarah's camp, maybe damning enough, because the real numbers is the public opinion at the end of the day. Even if the senators acquit you, if everyone, meaning everyone na hindi core DDS believes what everyone, the rest, but could you see a preemptive resignation also as a potential option there? And then of course that's also where papasok nga ombudsman, di ba? Previously ang concern ng mga tao is baka yung ombudsman, yung papaalis na ombudsman, because leaning daw sa mga Dutertes would make a last-minute sabotage by misinterpreting yung FYI ni Congressman Joel Chua. It was just an FYI. It was not asking the ombudsman to come in. But nevertheless, there's going to be a change in the ombudsman leadership. DOJ Secretary Remulla has thrown out his name out there, but Malacanang is distancing itself and saying nothing is settled. Basically, what I'm saying is this: is there a backstop? Let's say even if the impeachment may not produce the numbers for a guilty verdict, if ever the evidence, the preponderance of evidence is established, is there also a possibility to resign si Sara preemptively because she feels she's too politically damaged? Or is there also an option that she'll be also she'll be pursued also by ombudsman regardless of what happens in impeachment or even if she's acquitted in impeachment. Kasi yun din ang tinitignan ng tao. That's the next step, right? If ever she politically wiggles her way out of the Senate.
So, ito kasi yung, balakid dyan. Based on the Constitution, the Ombudsman cannot file a case habang Vice President siya. So, they can investigate, they can build up the case, but for as long as she is the Vice President, hindi niya maisasampa sa sandigan. So, that's the hurdle. Ngayon, punta tayo dun
You're talking about her immunity.
Yes. Ngayon, punta tayo dun sa preemptive resignation. Kaya one of the reasons kung bakit I saw yung 18-5 botohan na yon as a victory rather than the defeat. Kasi dahil hindi na-dismiss yung case, natuloy sila as an impeachment court, nag-convene sila sa impeachment court. Therefore, nasa jurisdiction na ng impeachment court yung fate ni Sara Duterte. Meaning, kung mag-resign siya preemptively before the trial or during the trial or just before the verdict, kung nakita niya matatalo siya, hindi na pwedeng she can get away with it kasi pwede na siyang patawan nung perpetual disqualification to hold public office. In contrast, yung kay Mercedes Gutierrez, nag-resign siya before we were constituted as an impeachment court. So that's the difference.
Kaya naging academic yung...
Wala pa kaming jurisdiction sa kanya eh. Pero ito nandoon na siya sa
jurisdiction
jurisdiction. Yun ang problema niya ngayon. That resignation option is already
out of the window.
Wala na yon. Kaya she will have to stick it out dito. At yun, yung sinasabi mo na maaring she survives this. Let's say she gets 9 acquittal votes towards the end. Pero the public would have seen by then lahat ng ebidensya. It would be a Pyrrhic victory towards the end na she won't survive politically.
So the ultimate victory is having an impartial, solid, robust trial period because you're confident if ever that happens, that could settle the matter because at the end of the day, may kumpiyansa tayo sa ating taong bayan for them to know what's the truth when they see the facts
And
of the case.
Ako, I'm confident about that kasi wala nang filter eh. Yung impeachment trial, parang teleserye yan. Papanuuri niya ng mga Pilipino. Hindi naman lahat, but a great majority of the people will see for themselves. Ngayon, wala nang filter, wala nang gaslighting, walang mga, alam mo, magfe-fake news dyan in between. Wala, kasi diretso. Kaya, yun, they will judge for themselves pag nakita nila, ay, wala naman pala, kurakot pala talaga.
Well, I'm sure people are gonna watch saying, I don't know, Robin Hood Padilla in the robe, Senator Bato. This is the most entertaining Senate, I could say, at least in terms of content value. Marami. So I'm sure it's, kasi Quadcom pa lang, nakita natin, grabe yung ratings, di ba? Talagang rating wars eh. And I won't be surprised to see more of, even more public interest in that. So, thank you so much.
I-add ko lang, alam mo, because of that, nakita mo yung social media. Nung 2012, yung kay Corona, it's just free TV ang pinapanood.
Right.
So ngayon, mas maraming may access, mas maraming makakapanood, tas it will be broken down.
Sa YouTube eh.
Oo. Kaya yung youth in particular, they would now be involved. Dati, doon sila sa eskwelahan, they're out elsewhere. Itong ma-involve sila. So mas marami pa na ma-involve dito. Kaya the senator judges would be very, very careful in disregarding that totally. So, but of course, meron talagang gagawa na just the same.
Thank you for mentioning the youth vote because in the next episode, I want to talk about, basically the road to 2028, Project 2028, because in 2025 elections, we saw the youth vote really came out and introduced a lot of interesting dynamics, no? Ang daming mga some would say palaos na artista who thought na easy way back to Senate. They didn't make it. And a lot of people thought walang pag-asa. They did very well in the election. So it looks like as the youth become the biggest voting bloc, there's also new elements coming to the picture. So as far as 2020 is concerned, that's also looking like an interesting race. But obviously, we also have to talk about the ICC issue because mga Duterte are not only involved in this impeachment trial, they're also involved in other trial, and that's the ICC trial that's coming up. Thank you very much, Senator Trillanes, for the fantastic discussion. Catch us again here on the Pilipinas 360 Degrees. Pag-usapan naman natin sa next episode, ICC 2025 elections and the road to 2028 with Senator Trillanes.